difficulty. Former junior European all-around champion starts this vault final.
Powers in, lifts high, goes for the two twists. Nicely landed. She'll be very happy with that opening vault.
Tell you, for a 6.3 difficulty, she made it look easy.
So important to get a good, secure vault. And if it's difficult as well, into the locker. Look at that, plenty of pop from the top of the horse.
Legs are
a little bit tight when she came out, had to work to rotate it here and slightly to one side. But great way to start. Big push from the top. Look at this. Lovely form. Works hard to make the double spin. And there we are.
Well, she was the 5th highest qualifier, and she's up to difficulty there, so she could well be in contention if she can keep that execution together.
Well, the execution was certainly very good indeed.
So,
but I'm not completely sure that she did do a 6.3 vault.
Well,
no, a 5.8.
Yeah.
I was just looking up, and no, the double twisting Yashenko is only 5.8. So
after all that deliberation,
yeah,
they got it wrong.
They put the wrong number in after all.
Well, as long as she doesn't suffer for it, that's the thing.
Second vault, Anastasia Krishna.
Has to go on differently, so she turns on this time. Lovely vault. The round off, the half turn on, lifts into the air, pike front somersault with a half turn off. Very nicely performed.
She's very sharp onto the top of the horse. Watch how quick this half turn is to keep her shoulders nice and square. Nice and sharp in the turn. Good, hard plant. Slightly to the side, but this is good. There's the turn. Good square approach. Then the pike semi with half turn. Slightly to one side, but this was good, consistent vaulting.
Very good, and I like this vault very much, but it's not tariffed very high. It's only a 5.2 tariff, and for me, I like it a lot. I think it shows versatility.
So 14 scored then for the second vault. Gives her an average of 14.2. Sandra Isbasa, the current European vault champion, current Olympic floor champion.
Lovely, powerful stride. Yeah, sorry, Matt. There she is. Yep, made the half turn out, which was very good at the end of that vault.
Difficult vault to land, isn't it, when you're landing blind like that, but she seemed a little short.
Very difficult, but beautiful style. She turns on, so she makes the round off. She turns on, half turn on, straight front somersault with full twist. Really complex, you know, you've got to be really spatially aware. This is the turn on, lifts up, holds that body so straight. We can see she's a little bit offline, so the judges will take off, and she does bend the knees a bit earlier than necessary. But very nice original vaulting.
It's that extra half turn that is the real job there.
That's right.
Normally you see half turn, but that's a full, great stuff, really.
6.1 tariff, so out of 16.1, so even with a few little deductions, it'll be a high score.
It's a 14.9 for the defending champion. Isbasa has 10 European medals, 5 gold, 4 silver and a bronze. What colour is the medal she's going to get today?
Same purposeful approach. Nice and clean, a double twist. She had plenty there, didn't she? So much energy.
It's amazing how she seems to have specialised as she's got older and older, you know, and here she is as a vault absolute specialist.
Yeah, and she's become very athletic, hasn't she? She looks like an athlete, really, and really powers down this runway. Hits, lifts, two twists, legs locked together, dead centre. That really was lovely vaulting, and I would have thought, you know, she might squeeze that extra half twist in by the Olympics, which will make her competitive with the best vaulters in the world, which currently come from the USA. Super style.
So she got 14.9 for the first vault. Is that going to be close? It is. It's a 14.8. 8.3. Well, that's the average. That's the average. So she scored 14.866. The average score, 14.833. a gymnast. More than keen to make a mark here in this final. Oksana Shizafatina, 2 Olympic medals, 11 world medals, 3 European medals. She got the silver last year, going for gold here.
And such a difficult vault, explodes off, the handspring, straight front somersault with 1.5 twist. It was quite heavily piped down, but very well completed.
One thing that was amazing, the power on the runway coming. Look at this, just look at the speed. To convert that is one heck of a job. There's the 1.5 turn. Yeah, you're right, Chris. She really had to work to get that round. Pulled it in tight. Really here she has to work. Running out of air. Almost out of direction, but works so well.
But she plants the hands right on the front of the platform where the springs are. Not many gymnasts are brave enough to go right on the front. They want to go over the lip. But the springs are on the front, and if you really use it, you can get some height.
14.9 double 3. So, slightly ahead of his Basser at this stage. But an average is taken of the 2 vaults. That's the final score. .5 difficulty. So this vault will be scored out of 15.5.
Another determined approach. This time she turns on 1.5 twists off. The straight Sukahara with 1.5 twists. Powerful, powerful vaulting. The judges give marks for height and length. Well, the length was phenomenal.
It's going to be close. So.
Very clean, this vault. Didn't have any trouble at all finding a way around through the twists. It lands very much upright. A very good vault indeed. 1.5 twists made to look very, very easy.
You can see a quick look over her shoulder to just spot the landing. Just give her an idea of where the floor is before she brings the head round, but it was good direction.
Has she done enough to go ahead of his Basser? She hasn't. It's silver. 14.683 is her score. Valeria Matsuta, 24 years old, competing for Israel. She has qualified for the Olympics for Israel.
Another purposeful run. Oh, nice and high in the double twist, but just lost her legs a little bit. One leg in front of the other, Chris. The judges won't be fooled for that, will they?
We're seeing some fantastic vaulting here. They're certainly not holding back.
Real powerful gymnasts, and they've all gone down that runway just like a long jumper, and this lifts beautifully off the top. She doesn't twist off the top, she waits and waits and then wraps in the 2 twists, but of course that means they were quite late, and she is quite heavily piped down on landing. The judges have a big deduction for the chest being down on landing, and as you see, her feet come down and her chest is pointing to the floor.
14.7, Matsuta's first vault. Certainly no deductions for lack of height on the first. She goes for vault number 2. 5.9 difficulty.
Oh, and she really was late getting that twist in, the full twist. A little bit flat off the top of the horse there. She did so well. Deep landing, but that was determination.
I think it was an inch between a bum and the mat there. We'll see in a second.
Same lovely lift off the top. She hits, lifts, waits, and then whips in that twist. And it was a good job she did just get the feet down, because if the feet don't go first, it's a 0. Actually, she controlled that very well.
She did. Remarkable control.
How late she started this twist, though, but guaranteed a beautiful push from the top. Just a fraction late, and that's the result. She was lucky to get away with that.
Judged to perfection, or lucky. Well, an average score there of 14.5 puts Matsuta into 3rd at the moment. Still plenty of vaulting to go in this final. So as it stands, so it's Basser ahead of Shizafatina. Naomi Masala is the next gymnast to go. She was 7th in this final back in 2009. And she was 3rd on vault at the London Olympic Test event not so long back.
Another very nicely flighted vault, a good double twist. The gymnasts using this flip onto the platform really have refined the technique so they can come on so low and lift off so high.
Bustles down the runway, look at her. Lots of power here, big push, determined in the double twist. Another good vault.
Really super stuff. Once upon a time it was unusual to see a double twisting Yushenko from the girls, and here we have got an awful lot of really good vaults. They're not scrappy and just got round, they're well performed.
Looking there at a 5-8 difficulty, we'll talk more in a second. 14.5 scored for Masala in her first vault, so vault number 2. Opted for a 5 difficulty. So this one is slightly easier.
The big test is she has to approach it differently forward this time, and actually not a hugely difficult vault but very nicely performed. If the gymnast goes on backwards for one vault, the next vault they have to go on forwards, and she did very well. Very
clean indeed, as you say, Chris. Not the most difficult of vaults, but she made it look very nice. Lovely leg form, good clean twist, just a little hop back at the end. Good vaulting, good clean vaulting.
So thinking ahead then to, you know, the difficulty of some of the finest vaulters in the world in the Olympics, let's say, what will they be opting for? I mean, we're looking at vaults here, 5-8, what have you.
Well,
14.166 for Masala, she's in 5th.
Well, most of the USA gymnasts do a 2.5 twist. So you're going up for a 6.3, 6.5 start value, and that is their big advantage over the other countries. They've got a whole team who can vault 2.5 twists.
That's the current leader. I think she's safe. We've got Steingruber to come as well, but she's got very impressive stuff. And interestingly, Boxogo's opting for the hand guards. They just protect her there for the enormous block and power that should produce.
Yes, a lot of the gymnasts just use, they call them panda paws, just to give a little support to the wrist.
This is the first time that Torina Boxogo has qualified for this vault final.
Yushenko approach, nicely popped up, but didn't make the rotation for 1.5 twists. Well, that's definitely a whole mark away. That's a pity.
Surprising as well, because she had plenty of airtime. Technique's good here, hands are back quick, plenty of time, but just a bit too leisurely in the actual twist. In fact, she bent the elbows quite a bit on the top. That was really the problem. If you watch as she hits the top of the platform, the elbows bend and she just takes a little bit of power out of the vault.
It's always that gamble, isn't it, of do you go for the really hard vaults and, you know, you can afford to give a bit away on the execution, or do you stick with it easy and, you know.
That's always the dilemma, and mostly here the gymnasts have been able to match both. It's been very, very good vaulting.
12.733 for Boxogo. It's too far to come back from there. She's opting for a difficulty of 5 for the next vault. 20 years old from Hungary.
Can she put it right this time? Oh, pike half turn, and that time she overcooked it. First one underdone, second one overdone. How